morning, Scribe.
Good morning, Patty. How the devil are you?
Good as always.
Good girl.
So, are you in the mood to read some more today?
Yes. Is the answer to that.
I thought it would be a bit harder to convince you.
Well, it's one of those things that have been requested, so I think we've picked something that's very edgy for people, so it will be interesting to see how it reads.
Oh, yes. So, what are we reading? Well, you.
You can read it if you like, Patty.
No.
And it's all over to you. We're going to be reading, well, I'm going to be reading, the very first story from the Taken to the Edge magazine. Now, it is probably the edgiest story in there. And as I mentioned in the foreword of the magazine, this story was actually a request. Came in from a young lady and gave me the format of broad brush, description of what she wanted. So I came up with a story, sent it to her. She actually contacted me and said, could you make it a little edgier? Could you make it a little stronger? Could you make it a little more brutal? So I did. The second draft was sent out, came back, she loved it and posted it onto her profile because it had actually got her name on it. She wanted her name used. So she told the world, and it went down very well. There were a lot of very, very positive reviews. There were one or two comments that people thought it was a little bit edgy, is the want of a better word, but it was a little near the knuckle. So when I put together the collection of the Forced Fantasy Scenario, which we've spoken about in the broadcast number 7, I do believe.
Yes, number 7. Let's be edgy.
That's it. It is a fantasy that is out there. It is possibly the most requested fantasy I've ever received in my time writing. When I used to throw the floor open and say, send me in your ideas, send me in your requests, tell me what it is that you would like to see yourself in. That's a scenario, the forced fantasy, stranger sex, the consensual non-consent. That was the most popular by far. I would say 80% of the requests that came in were of that nature. It gets repetitive as a writer when you're asking for requests and everything comes in saying exactly the same, because there are only so many scenarios you can create without it becoming almost formulaic. However, the 5 stories we managed to slip into the Taken to the Edge magazine have a different flavour to each one, so I was happy that with those 5 we covered as many bases as we could without it becoming almost a procession of similar happenings, similar occurrences within the stories. So I hope our listeners will like this. There are
I'm sure they will.
There's a lot of people out there that have read it already, so they will know the story. For those that haven't, I would suggest that if you're not familiar with the 4-sex stranger fantasy scenario, then go in and listen to recording 7. You will gain a little bit of understanding of where it comes from and what it's all about. And then listen to the story, and perhaps you can judge it then in a different way.
Good. So, anything else you want to say, or do you want to start reading?
We may as well put people out of their misery, Patty, or put them into their misery. And we shall start the story called Bad Debts. So, ladies and gentlemen, first story in the Taken to the Edge magazine is called Bad Debts. Gemma dreaded the post coming. Every day she would hear the clatter of mail and wonder what other bad news it would bring. Since leaving her job, because of that bastard, things had not gone well. Bills were stacking up, people were chasing her for money, and she knew the house was under threat. With trembling hands, she opened each letter, until the one that she had been dreading was on the table before her. It told her that due to the arrears, and that she had made no contact with them, the mortgage company had passed the debt to a firm of bailiffs who would be in touch to arrange collection of the debt. They may even take things from her house and sell them to recover the money. She sat in silence and just looked at the letter. 2 days later, the phone rang as she came in from the shops. She picked it up with a cheery hello, and a voice she didn't know introduced themselves. Miss Stevens, my name is Dan Lewis of First Recovery Limited. We have been instructed by our clients to collect on arrears on a mortgage secured on your property. I would like to arrange a time when I can come and discuss this with you. Gemma held her breath and stayed quiet. Hello, Miss Stevens? It's no good pretending you're not there. This matter will not go away. I have a scheduled visit in your area this week, so I think it's better I just pop round and see if we can get this thing sorted, okay? Gemma once again didn't say anything, and the phone went dead in her hand. She replaced the handset with a sigh, and then returned to the task, putting away her shopping. The rest of the week dragged by, with Gemma refusing to answer any more calls unless she recognized the number. Late on the Thursday evening, as she stepped from the shower and was heading into her bedroom when the front doorbell rang, cursing her sister, who was supposed to come round earlier, she padded downstairs in a towel and opened the door. The large man at the door surprised her, more so when he stepped forward to prevent her closing the door again. Miss Stevens, I'm Dan Lewis. We spoke earlier this week. Gemma looked up at him. He was over 6 feet tall, broad, deep tan masking his age, and a smooth head giving an almost boyish quality to his face. It was his eyes that worried her the most. They were large and dark, and had the look of a predator about them, so that even though he was smiling, she knew they were appraising her, and the towel did not hide much. Mr. Lewis, this is not a good time for me. It is late, and I think it would be best if you came back at another time, okay? She was alarmed when he ignored her and stepped further into the house, making her back away. He turned slightly and closed the door behind him. Miss Stevens, we may as well try to sort this out now, don't you think? Every time I make a trip here costs money, and that is added to the overall debt. If I come back again, then it will cost you another £300. She saw his eyes flick over her curves, still slightly wet from the shower, and a glint appeared for a fleeting second. She pulled the damp towel tighter around her. £300? Are you kidding? How could you charge someone that much? I can't afford to keep paying that type of amount. He smiled a very predatory smile. Then it is best we come to an arrangement now, then, isn't it? I think I can do something for you. He stepped forward so that she backed away further, the wall behind her preventing her from moving away. He came very close, his eyes raking over her body, his nostrils flaring like an animal as he took in the scent of her shower oils. His right hand came up and stroked through her damp hair. She shook her head to remove it. What do you think you're doing? Leave me alone. Get out of my house now. He looked into her eyes and smiled again. Listen to me, little Gemma. I know you cannot afford to make a payment, and I can add as much as I like to the bill. If you want to keep this pathetic house of yours, then you had better be nice to me, okay? Make me happy, and I'll show on the paperwork you are making an effort to settle this. Otherwise, I report you are avoiding the debt, and we will commence taking your stuff. He looked around the hall. And you don't have much of value, do you? She glared up at him with hatred. You fucking bastard. I bet you love preying on people, big man that you are. She sneered at him. You think you frighten me? She saw a shadow in his eyes, and he moved very quickly. He grabbed her arms and pinned her wrists over her head. At the same time, his knee pushed between her thighs and pressed her against the wall. She could feel herself lifted onto her toes as he held her there, chuckling. His eyes devoured her body, and she could feel an ominous hardness pressing into her hip. His free hand came up, and the fingers closed over the top of the towel. Now, you only have one chance at this, little girl, so listen well. Make a fuss about this, and I'll have you out of this house and on the street within the month. You be a good little slut and do what I ask, then you get to live here a little longer. It's your choice. Gemma was truly scared now. She could see in his eyes he meant every word that he said. She felt helpless, pinned against the wall, and she knew she did not really have a choice at all. She felt tears begin to well in her eyes as she dropped her head. What do you want me to do? Please don't hurt me. I'll try to do what you ask. Just don't hurt me. I'll be good, I promise. He slowly pulled the towel downwards, exposing her firm breasts. The nipples hardened at the cooler air. She saw him lick his lips again. I am going to enjoy this. Then he pulled the towel from her body. He ran his hands across her breasts, pulling at her nipples hard enough to make a yelp, which brought another chuckle from him. You have a cute little body, girlie. I adore curves. He moved his hands to her face and rubbed his thumb over her lips. But this is dirty. I think I'll make it learn some respect first. So on your knees. He didn't release her hands as she lowered herself to the floor. He reached down and unzipped himself, struggled slightly to remove his cock. Gemma's eyes widened at the size of him as he twitched in her face. He moved his hips closer, and the large cock pressed into her cheek. His free hand came down and moved her face so that his cock now rubbed over her lips. Open wide, bitch. Show me what you can do. Gemma swallowed hard, parted her lips. He didn't give her time to move as he pushed forward into her mouth, going far deeper than she was comfortable with, and making her throat heave. He laughed and withdrew a little. She closed her lips on him and started to suck, moving her tongue over and around the large tip, thinking all the time of finding the quickest way to make him come, so then maybe he will leave her. He had other ideas, and taking a handful of her hair, he pulled her roughly onto himself and started to fuck her face. Gemma spluttered and moaned, but he held her tight and used her mouth. After what seemed like a lifetime to Gemma, he withdrew, a bubble of saliva dripping from the tip of his cock, and her chin and neck coated with her own juices and his pre-cum. Well, that was nice, little girl, he laughed. And you've made me all nice and slippery. Let's see where else I can fit into. Gemma was coughing and heaving at the assault on her throat as she felt herself lifted back to her feet. spun her round, his knees parting her thighs as she was lifted onto her toes again. He positioned his slick cock against her pussy. Just so you don't accuse me of forcing you, you will push yourself back onto me, understood? Gemma groaned and turned her head towards him. Her tears had mingled with the saliva on her face. Don't make me do this, please. You'll hurt me, you know you will. Please. He raised his hand up and gripped her hair at the base of her neck, pulling her head back so he could look down on her. Just do it, you fucking slut. I want to feel that little pussy stretch over me. He shook her head, banging it against the wall. So come on, bitch. Put yourself on me. Her vision swam due to the blow on the wall. She whimpered quietly as she tentatively moved her hips back a fraction of an inch, and the large cock pressed against a small opening. He shook her head again, making her cry out, and she moved back further, this time taking about an inch of him inside her. He felt huge. He decided she had done enough, and taking hold of her hip in his free hand, he rammed into her. Gemma arching, her mouth open in a silent scream as she was impaled on him. She whimpered and begged him not to hurt her as he started to thrust with a steady rhythm, grunting as he hit the top of her insides. She writhed at the treatment she was receiving, each thrust almost lifting her off her feet as he used her body for his pleasure. Suddenly he picked her up, still deep inside her, and carried her to the stairs. He dropped her so she was on all fours on the carpeted steps. Now, little girl, you can do some of the work. I'll stand here. He took hold of her hips. And you fuck yourself on me. Do it. Gemma cried harder as he moved herself backwards and forwards, knowing she had to continue until he was finished with her. Her pussy ached from the battering he had given her. The size of him filled her totally. She struggled to please him by moving herself faster, just in the hope it would tip him over the edge and he would let her go. He took hold of her hair like a set of reins, laughing to himself. Come on, little doggy, ride that big old cock. That's it. Milk it with that tight cunt of yours. Don't slow down. All the way in like a good bitch. Gemma cried and bit her lip, knowing he was holding himself back so he could use her for longer and hurt her more. He pulled out of her and slapped her hard across the ass, grabbed her arms and lifted her into a standing position before pushing her to one side and sitting down on the stairs. He turned her so her back was towards him again. I haven't got a lot of time left, little slut, and I'm aching to come, and you have the perfect place for me to empty into. Sit back onto my lap. Gemma looked over her shoulder and lowered herself onto the large, twitching cock. She reached between her legs and guided it towards her pussy. As she went to move lower, he held her hips and moved her forward about an inch and pulled her down again. His cock now rested against the tight bud of her ass. Gemma tried to stand up, but he held her tight. God, no, you can't mean there. Please, you are way too big. Please use my pussy or my mouth. Let me fuck you. I'm all wet for you. Please don't. Gemma pleaded with him, but he looked her straight in the eye and laughed. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Just push yourself down onto me now, or I'll rip you to shreds and still report you when I get back. Do this right, and you will be left alone. Gemma sobbed as she let him pull her down. The size of him felt enormous as he started to enter her virgin ass. She couldn't help but clench her muscles, and he grunted at the pressure before he moved and kicked her legs forward. Gemma dropped down onto him, taking the large cock up her ass in one move, and he clamped his hand over her mouth as she started to scream. He bounced her on him, using her to milk him as she writhed in his embrace and sobbed, praying for him to finish. He couldn't last long taking her like that, and with a groan he filled her insides with what felt like gallons of cum. With a sigh, he pushed her off him onto the floor before standing over her while she lay there shuddering, his cum leaking out onto the carpet. After he had tidied himself up, he stooped over her. "Thank you for that, Miss Stevens. I shall be back each month to collect further premiums. So don't forget to wear something nice and accessible for me, will you?" Gemma could hear him laughing as he closed her front door and walked down the drive. Well, that was a little naughty. That was a little naughty.
I mean, I read it, but somehow I forgot the really naughty parts.
It nearly made me blush, Patty.
I'm tomato red at the moment. And I'm glad we don't do cam at the moment.
Yes.
I'm glowing.
It is a different experience for a writer to actually read things, because you see the scenarios, you hear the words in your head when you're tapping away. The images it's like for me it's like a movie screen. It flickers and I just sit and tap away what it is that I see in my head. It's a completely different thing when you sit there and you actually read these things cold as they are. And I'm no actor, I'm no voice artist, so it is difficult to read and to assume the roles of the characters, but it's interesting. I quite enjoy that.
Good.
So
that means I can make you read more things.
If we get a positive response, Patty, then yes, there are lots of stories out there to be read, and I like the idea of audiobooks. But you know me, I would want to tease people. So if we have a book that comes out as an audiobook, then I'll just release a chapter at a time. So they will have to wait between chapters, because waiting is good for people.
Oh, you really are a big teaser.
Yes, I am. So, something for the future, I think, Patty. But once again, we are governed by our readers, our listeners. If they turn around and say, for God's sake, Scribe, shut up and just let us read, then that's fine. I say if the response is positive, we shall certainly look at doing some more. Yeah. It will be fun.
Oh, yes.
And who knows, we may have some more edgy stories like that. We might even have some darker, God forbid. So...
is that even possible?
I don't know, probably.
We have to find out.
I'm sure we could find something a lot darker, Patty. It depends on whether there is an audience out there brave enough for them. Whether I could actually read it without getting all confuddled myself. Probably take a few attempts if it got much darker.
I was about to say, it's impressive because you do it in one sitting. It's not like I'm editing it. Just so people know
you're not going to edit that, but from my point of view, I was just reading, so I don't know how it actually sounded. So, if you think that's okay, then you go with it. You're the wizardess at the audio things, Patty, so what do I know? I just scribble these things down.
No editing needed.
Oh, well, then they can have it raw, can't they? It's raw and live. See, that will be something. I don't know whether I could actually do that. Do a live reading. Actually have people there listening. I suppose we could, couldn't we?
Yes, we could use Google Plus for that. The Hangouts, or yeah, I think it's called Hangouts.
Right, okay. But that would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? Read to a live audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh no, I don't know whether I dare risk that, because I might get boos and heckling and things. We might get people shouting, "Get off, Scribe." Shut up.
We don't know until we try.
We don't do that. You know me, I'll try anything once, Patty, especially if it makes me laugh at the time. Though I'm supposed to keep a straight voice, I'm not supposed to laugh, am I?
I like how we change from the naughtiest of naughty stories to just laughter.
Yeah, well, it's all part of mischief, isn't it? It's the fact that you can do these things and then chuckle about it afterwards. Mustn't take ourselves too seriously, Patty.
Yeah. Okay.
God forbid we ever do that. We'll worry about that when we take over the world. When my plans for world domination come to fruition, then you all need to be scared, people.
Scribe world domination in 2016.
Ooh, yes, 2016 sounds like a good enough year to be the year of the scribe, doesn't it? Though I would like 2015 to be the year of the scribe. Sometimes I'm patient, so I can wait.
There's so much to do.
Yes,
We need more leverage on the world leaders and.
Well, no, not really. They'll just do as they're told. I need more slaves to to facilitate the process of going through, just getting everything in place, everything nicely in order, because I like order. And then we can unleash the future on the world and say, well, welcome to the world of the scribe.
You will need a flag.
What can we have as a scribe flag? Ooh, there we go. There's one for listeners. We're going to have a competition.
Another one.
We're going to have a competition. Yes, we are. We are going to, anybody who listens to this who fancies themselves as a little bit of an artist or a penman or somebody that's just like scribbling with crayons, like an awful lot of my readers, then design me a flag. And what I would do is on my WordPress page, there is an email of scribecomp@yahoo.com. Send me a picture. The one that is selected will win a prize. We will find something suitable for you, perhaps a signed, dedicated book. One of the new paperbacks will come winging your way. So let's see what interesting designs people have, Patty. There you go. There's something completely out of the blue. Scribe thinking on his feet there, but that will be a bit of fun, won't it?
Now I want my own flag. But I make it myself.
Okay. I was going to say we could always say to them, do one for Patty as well. But definitely we need a scribe flag, don't we? We need something that's dark and deviant.
I mean, if someone is totally bored at the moment and wants to do a Patty flag, try. I demand there has to be a unicorn. Yes, a unicorn.
Unicorns are bad luck, Patty.
I don't care. A unicorn and a kitten and ice cream.
You want a flag with a unicorn, a kitten, and ice cream on it?
Yes.
It's a good job you're not going for world domination, is it? Because that would be laughed at.
Oh, when I would dominate the world, it would be great.
You can't, though. You're going to have Iceland. You've already asked me if you can have Iceland.
Yes, I know, but just, when I want it, I could do it, but I'm just too lazy, so I don't want the whole world and only take Iceland, because
Well, that would be a
so
nice
much
flag
work.
for Iceland, wouldn't it? That would be a nice new flag for Iceland. Theirs is just a plain old cross. Everybody has those. So let's get.
See, mine is creative. A unicorn, a cat, and ice cream.
That's it. People of Iceland will appreciate that. I can see them already. In fact, when they listen to this, there will be demonstrations in the streets demanding its introduction straight away.
I sure hope so.
I don't know. So, we now have a new competition, Scribe's flag. Where the hell did that come from? But please, crayon people, painty people, drawery people, give me a flag. Scribe needs a flag. And it will go on my profile. We shall post it in pride of place. And like I said, we will do the winning design. We'll get you a nice little signed and dedicated book with thanks from me. And we'll make a little bit of a fuss about you. So there are lots of nurses now hiding crayons from patients. Saying, don't you dare. I should stop really. Am I insulting my readers by saying that they're all in care homes being looked after by or locked away in institutions? I don't mean it seriously. Well, perhaps I do, because I know some of...
That was the end of the Scribe.
Yes, there goes our whole scheme of world domination, because everybody is just... let's burn his books. So, oh well. It was fun while it lasted, Patty. Lasted for about 5 minutes, I think. Ah, dear. Well,
I think we talked enough nonsense.
Yes. So. Should we go now?
I think before we talk us into more trouble.
I can hear in the background they're coming to get us.
Oh no.
See, you've got about 5 minutes before they come through your front door.
Damn it, not again.
Yeah, if you remember the Bourne identity, he knew the timings. As soon as he heard that sound, he was off. So you go and you go make preparations, Patty, and I'm going to switch off and pretend I don't know you.
I thought I could hide at your place.
No, I'm afraid not. By the time you got here, you've got to cross several borders. So they will all have you marked. So you won't be going anywhere. And especially as I'll tell them where you're going.
That's not nice.
And on that note, I shall say bye-bye to you for now, Patty. And hopefully we'll find a serious subject for the next one, or maybe just stick to reading so people don't have to listen to our drivel.
Yeah, we will see.
So I shall leave you to take care of the audio and look forward to receiving the notification that it's ready to go live and to upset people. And I shall speak to you again very soon.
Okay, have a nice day.
Bye-bye for now, Betty. Bye-bye.